an event which led us into World War II, an event that changed our great nation and ultimately the world. After the December 7th attack, many of the survivors went forward to fight other battles on land, sea, and air in the Pacific. Some came back, others sacrificed their lives. Those who gave their last full measure of devotion for our country never had a second chance at home that many of us had after enduring 4 years of war in the Pacific. The Pearl Harbor survivors that are here today are the first greatest generation which paved the other way for others to follow. It was a difficult road, but when America takes on the challenge as a united country, there's no limit to what we can achieve, no matter adversity before us. Today our world remains a dangerous place, and this nation cannot afford to let the lesson of Pearl Harbor be lost to the future generation. So join us, remember Pearl Harbor, keep America alive. Now this is the opening speech for December 7th. So everybody's welcome to come. So if you do come, it's free, but the luncheon is not free. So just bring your survival kit, a couple of sandwiches, and join us, okay? All right, now I'll get to business. Most of this is on me, but I'm not as smart as I used to be anymore, so everything's written down. In the late 1941, most of the world was at war. Only America was the war at a distant thunder, but most knew it was only a question of when America would become directly engaged in the conflict. The answer came on the peaceful U.S. island territory of Hawaii, but the Japanese attacked December 7th. A force of 183 Japanese planes flew over from 6 aircraft carriers 220 miles north of Oahu on a beautiful Sunday morning. In Pearl Harbor, 100 U.S. ships and hundreds of aircraft were grouped together. A second wave of 168 enemy planes was launched. War was shouted this beautiful day just before a Japanese plane initially struck Fort Island, Hickam Field, Eva Field, Wheeler Field, Schofield Barracks, and other military defense strong points around the island of Oahu. As Pearl Harbor defense were being destroyed, Japanese torpedoes, planes, and high-altitude bombers swooped and one capital ships helplessly anchored around Fort Island and Pearl Harbor. There were the priority targets. Struck by bombs, torpedoes were U.S. Nevada, Arizona, West Virginia, Oklahoma, and California. Now these are all big battleships, they're very big battleships. And on the other side of Fort Island, the U.S. Utah, that was a battleship. Then there was Raleigh and Detroit, they were attacked, they were cruisers. When ships around the harbor, sailors watched it hard first, then anchored as Japanese planes flew past them, relentlessly pressing their attack. Now you hear about me. All right? Okay. So much. I'll tell you what he did now. Like any other kid did when he was young. I volunteered to go into service when I was 17. On July 1935, I chose the Army Infantry and served 1 year stateside. Then again, I volunteered for foreign service and chose Hawaii. I arrived in Hawaii on November 2nd, 1940, and was assigned to Pearl Harbor Schofield Infantry, which is located about 8 miles north of Pearl Harbor. Prior to the attack on Pearl Harbor, I was with the outfit, the 24th Infantry Division. Some of our units spent a week-long field trial and test maneuvers at the northern end of the island. We returned to Schofield Barracks on December 6, 1941. Some of us never got to sleep until 2 a.m. on December 7, 1941. We decided to sleep late that morning. At about 7:50 a.m., we were awakened by low-flying Japanese planes. They were traveling the area with machine gun fire and heading towards Wheeler Field, Army Airfield, which is adjacent to Schofield Barracks. Japanese planes started to descend on Wheeler Field. Traffic is following the area. Most of our planes were destroyed and damage was heavy with casualties and loss of life. Still got another half page. Could you bear with me? Could everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. If you people in the back can hear me, if you're full, I just come up front. Okay. As the Japanese were attacking, I was assigned with other soldiers to an ammunition warehouse that was full of explosives. The warehouse was situated in the center of a large field. We began to load trucks with ammunition and explosives to fortify the north shore of the island because we anticipated that Japanese troops were going to make a landing. We were inside a warehouse going out ammo to load the trucks. We heard planes coming overhead. We quickly stopped what we were doing and ran for cover. We started to run towards a ravine that was about 5 feet deep to give us some protection. That was just in case the planes would fire on us. Somehow we never got to the ravine. We were caught in the middle of the field while the Japanese planes were overhead, flying low and striving to bomb the real fuel. We must have run for cover out of the warehouse 3 or 4 times. That was every time when we heard the planes coming over. They did not fire directly on us. They fired in front of us. Because what happened, they were coming down very low. They would come down and start striking Schofield Park and the four-wheeler field. They had these dive bombers coming in. They were very low flying aircraft. To this day, I wonder why they never fired upon us or bombed the warehouse that was full of explosives. They could have fired upon us while we were running for cover. In the middle of the field towards the ravine, or maybe they were setting their attack on the Grand Prize, Pearl Harbor, which they succeeded. I think if the Japanese had known that the warehouse was full of explosives where they bombed it, that would not be here today. During the same day of the attack, a warning alarm was sounded of a Japanese gas attack. Now we're here. We wore gas masks all that night because we just saw different types of odors. As dawn began to break, we realized it was not a gas attack, but the burning destruction that emitted fumes caused by the Japanese attack. Immediately after the attack, the division moved to set up defenses against a possible invasion on the northern part of the island that never took place. There was a rumor that the Japanese would make a landing on the northern part of Hawaii, but they never materialized. When the division was over, 5 Japanese planes had been brought down by the 24th Division Small Arms Fire. The division was the first army unit to feel the fury of the Imperial Japan, the first to fight back. Later, the division moved to Australia for general training, endurance training, and amphibious training. We invaded New Guinea and other islands in Pacific fighting our way to the Philippines. This topic I will not write about. It's another episode. Anyway, I contacted Valeria, the general of New Guinea, and was sent home on vacation for because I served in the Pacific for 4 years. When I got home, I spent 6 months in Alba Army Hospital fighting malaria for a few years after that. Was discharged from the Army at the same time attack. Like I said, I was 19 years old. I enlisted when I was 17. I had 3 other brothers who served in the World War II. Other than myself, 2 in the Army, 2 in the Navy. My younger brother was killed in Okinawa by Japanese border attack. He was with the 77th Division. Another brother was in the Army during the Korean War. Make the 5 brothers that served. That's my brother over there in Korea.
Wait, Renee, just wait.
When the Japanese came over, actually there were 25 planes that all total were shot down by our forces in Hawaii when the Japanese came over. But our unit itself, we shot down 5 units. Now, there's a flag right here. That's a original flag. I followed where the plane was ready to crash, went over. It's still burning, but they take the pilot out. And as I looked inside, he had that, I see something red underneath the cockpit seat. So that's a flag right here. And right here, you see this up here? Kamikaze. It says, It's a suicide mission when they go on. That's what we're wearing.